Happy Monday. You know, I used to hate facial hair, but then it grew on me. Today I want to have a chat about how it's okay to move on from things, to switch it up, to experience new things. I like to look at life as just a giant resume. Everything you do adds to that resume. And while it's impressive to do one thing for a long time, say you do something for 10 years, that might only be one bullet point in your life's resume. I personally find it way more interesting and valuable if you had a lot of bullet points, to be a jack of all trades. I created this YouTube channel, I believe, in 2007. So it's been a very long time. I can't crunch that in my head. How many years ago was 2007? 14 years ago. Sweet Moses. So I've been doing this for 14 years, and, you know, we're doing it full time. Yeah, full time since 2012. In 2012, I was in university. I told my parents I didn't want to get a summer job. I just wanted to try it out. And if I could make any kind of money, then I should continue to pursue it. That first year, I made a couple $100. Like, it wasn't insane, but it was like, wow, like, you made a couple $100 off the internet? Like, that's really, really cool. And I, kept going at it for many, many, many years. Nearly a decade now of full-time YouTube. And while you learn a lot, there's I guess, money to be made out there in the content creation world. There are a lot of skills that come with it, editing, Photoshop, things like that. Things that, are just increasingly invaluable. Honestly, I can't tell you how often at least kind of basic Photoshop skills have come in handy at almost every job I've ever had, no lie. It's so valuable to have some of these tech skills out there that you learn from doing YouTube, right? From this repetition of trying to make a better thumbnail every video and such, right? Video editing, like even just casually, right? Like if you wanted to helps a friend edit something or a family member, or, create a special video for your mom for Mother's Day kind of thing. It's Mother's Day today when I'm filming this. That's what I'm thinking of that, which I'm pretty sure I did at some point. Those are bullet points. Those are skills on that first page, right, of your life's resume. Now, for me, people still continue to kind of stumble on my videos. Again, I have no idea how YouTube feeds my videos to people. It's very evident that it's doing something weird. But it's interesting when people kind of re-stumble upon my channel and been like, where were you? I've all been here, for one. Still doing stuff. I've been kind of all over. And they come in and they're like, what happened to Ready Up Live? Or like, they have all these questions about what I'm doing, or like why I'm not uploading as much and doing that kind of stuff. And, it's because I'm doing other stuff, right? Like I want to keep padding that resume. And I say this almost to reassure myself as well, in that I'm so excited by trying new things. And it's always so scary, I'll admit. Like I've had a lot of very, very anxiety-inducing moments in my career of changing things and trying things that I did not think I was equipped for. Imposter syndrome style, that like I always think I'm just on the right, like I think it's going to be tomorrow that I'm found out to be a fraud, right? That I'm not as good as I am at everything I do, and that I don't deserve to be in the positions I'm in. But that's just how imposter syndrome works. And the reality is that every time I take on one of these jobs, even if I don't personally feel I did a fantastic job and someone else out there could have done it better, I'm now one more bullet point deeper than someone else, than someone who has no bullet points, than someone who doesn't have any of these skills, than someone who's never taken on all these multiple jobs. And again, I don't want to devalue, long-time content creators and stuff, because it's really hard. I'm telling you, it's hard stuff. It's a lot of work, and it can and will, and you'll see it over and over and over again. That rug can just be pulled, and I have too many friends all around me that have had that, right? That rug pulled, had to find other jobs and stuff, and it's tough if you don't have that experience in other areas and you don't know where to turn, and that's really tricky because you're so used to that. And I think of, it's a very small percentage of people that started YouTube at the age of whatever and were worldwide successes forever, right? That's not the average. Right? That's not what everyone's gonna do, right? And that's why I always say, like, hey, do you want to be a full-time YouTuber? Don't. You're not gonna make it, right? And we've had this discussion before, so I don't want to dive deep into this one, but like this, like, I don't want to use that to discourage too much as you have to have realistic expectations, right? Like, yeah, you gotta take the punches as they go, and you gotta keep trying new things, and I wish I could stress it more everywhere, in that you're late to the game. I will always be a big fan of trying new things and trying to jump on board kind of new hype trains versus trying to get into something that's already established. Potentially safer, sure. Much harder. Way harder. Streaming is that point, whereas right now, really, it's like, do YouTube, honestly. Oddly enough, through all this discussion, teach yourself to make YouTube videos, because YouTube is under-tapped right now, I think, for a lot of reasons. Because streaming is where it's at. Streaming is what it's all about for everybody. And streaming is oversaturated. It's crazy oversaturated. I found a lot of joy in trying all these new things and trying new jobs. And like, oh man, I've had such cool opportunities to just chat with the coolest people. And an interesting thought exercise. You're not going to be the same as me here necessarily, but if you were to have a nice dinner with someone, who would it be? Anyone in the world. Who would it be? And I'll just be curious about your answers in comments down below for this one, because it's like, I often hear just like someone's celebrity they love, but I'm gonna warn you that your average movie star or whatever might not really be the most insightful, interesting dinner. It might be a cool story to tell people, but they're just people out there, acting, right? I mean, if you're big into acting and stuff, great. I've always been personally much more interested in talking to people who at least are closer to my wavelength as a career trajectory, right? Like, I'd rather talk to business people. My idols in that space are again, just really like successful business people and their stories, and that stuff's fascinating. Don't get me wrong, I love the notion of hanging out and meeting some, traditional celebrities, but what do you get out of that, right? Like, if this was your one shot to learn a lot, why wouldn't you pick someone that you could really learn from, right? Now, if you think that way, you want to surround yourself with those people potentially, right? You want to be like that person. How do you get there, right? How do you become like that? Does your plan for a career actually line up with that dinner party that I'm talking about? Because it's not always the easy answer, right? It's not just, oh yeah, I'm gonna stream for 8 hours a day, and you talk to me in a year, and I'm gonna be a big star. I'm gonna make it big. I'm gonna, make a ton of money, be super famous, and I can do whatever I want. That's not gonna happen. What can you do differently? What can you bring to the table that's different? How can you continue to pad and stack and buff that resume of your life? Those are my thoughts for the day. I've transitioned almost entirely from content creation to a lot of other stuff. Really, a lot of other stuff. I'm always kind of taking on different interesting gigs, and they're sometimes frightening, but I always learn a ton every time I do them. And I've done a lot of cool stuff now that I would not have had I been more hyper-focused on just continuing to create content. And it's fascinating. Last week I asked for you guys to send me a weird thing that you have or that you collect. We only got one submission here, but good, because this is a winner. Warning, you're about to see teeth. Strudla submits his bloody baby teeth, roots and all. He says, as time passes, I particularly fancy the changing colors. That's a weird statement. Oh, the second photo, though. I don't like it. I don't like the inside of teeth. We don't need to keep that on for very long on the screen. He says, I absolutely love the videos. I hope you keep going for a long time, man. I've been watching you for several years, and I keep coming back for each video. It's my favorite weekly show. Thank you very much, Stroudla. First of all, that's very kind words, and thank you for submitting your teeth. I'd like to get out of the way that, as it stands, this show will not last forever. It is on the clock. The clock is ticking. I have plans for the final episode. So it is finite. And when that happens, I'll be able to focus on different kind of content, or content will be more few and far between. We'll see. Gonna save that for another conversation though. Next week, I have an interesting ask. And I'd love to see, we're gonna do the opposite of one of the harder things to potentially send a picture of. This will be the easiest thing. I want to have the most submissions we've ever had for Happy Monday show. This is so easy to do, guys. Take a photo of what you see right now. Right now. As soon as you're hearing this, pull up your phone or your phone. Take a photo. What do we see? What's your setup like? How are you watching this video? I'm going to be super fascinated by these images. What you want to do is post that on Instagram as a post. Use the hashtag Happy Monday Now. Happy Monday Now. And tag me at Greenskull, and I will feature them next week, and we'll take a look at what you see right now. That's going to be interesting. I want to have the most submissions we've ever had, so I'm super excited to see what you guys are looking at, what your setup looks like. How are you watching me? Thank you for watching. See you next video. Happy Monday.